Hi, Mr. Steve Swatt, thank you so much, as always, for being
pleasure.
here. As we know, it's President Donald Trump's first day in office. We know that he is signing executive orders. As we wait for more on what he's signing, again, this is changing every minute, every hour. We're something that we're following. I do want to talk about some of the things that he stressed today during his inaugural speech, one of those being tariffs. So I want to play some sound from his speech earlier today on what he had to say about tariffs.
I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens.
So first, Steve, I want to ask you, why is Trump wanting to impose these tariffs?
Well, he believes it's going to bring in a lot of money to the U.S. Treasury and to the growers, for example, and other manufacturers. But in fact, tariffs are really a tax on imports or exports overseas. And it's the importers who pay those taxes, and they often pass those on to consumers. And that's why a lot of economic experts believe that higher tariffs on Canada, for example, Mexico, China, could result in more inflation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, is what are people saying on both sides of the aisle about what this, these tariffs could do, not only to consumers, but also businesses and the economy?
Well, on the positive side, they're talking about relying less on foreign goods and services, and then relying more on American-made goods. And so that sort of helps the American manufacturers and growers and things like that. But there's a real potential problem, because what if one of these other countries, China, for example, or even Canada or Mexico, decides to retaliate, and then they would put tariffs on U.S. goods being exported overseas or to other countries, and that would make them less valuable, less able to sell their products, and that would really hurt a number of industries. In California, for example, almonds rely heavily on exports.
Yeah.
Wine, for example, also dairy products.
When do you expect him to impose these tariffs?
Well, a lot of people thought they'd be imposed now,
right?
Like
yeah.
today. However, he's basically told members of his administration to study which tariffs should be increased and where. And so I think they'll come fairly soon.
So they're kind of pausing, taking a look at what it would do.
They are.
Okay. I do want to talk about immigration. We know that immigration here in California has been a very important and concerning topic for many people here. Our state's agriculture, as you just mentioned, and we talked about at the top of our show, relies heavily on immigrant labor. Can you explain what we know so far about what Trump has said he would do under his new policies, and did we learn anything new today?
Well, we certainly learned a few things, and we didn't learn some others. For example, he is focusing primarily today on the border and border issues and keeping immigrants out and migrants from coming into this country. However, and he's going after what he says are the millions and millions, and I'm not sure about that number, of criminals who happen to be undocumented in this country. What we don't know is whether he will go further and beyond the, quote, criminals, and just try to get as many undocumented out of this country as possible. There are members of his administration and members of Congress who want him to do that. And that would be devastating, as you heard just a few minutes ago, to California's agricultural industry. I mean, it's a $60 billion industry, the largest in the state of California, and the number of counties that would be hurt are really up and down the Central Valley.
And I do want to talk about environmental policies in California, something that we've really talked a lot about here on To The Point. They could be at risk. I want to share what President Trump had to say in regard to electric vehicles specifically. So let's listen to his sound.
With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers.
Trump is, cutting support for Biden's so-called electric vehicle mandate, requiring auto manufacturers to cut greenhouse gas emissions by half beginning in 2027. We also have a mandate here in California for all new cars sold in California to be zero-emission vehicles by 2035. My question to you before we go, and I only have about 30 seconds here, can President Trump remove the electric vehicle mandate, and how hard do you expect California to fight to keep a mandate like this?
Yes, he can. He can rescind. He believes he can. California will go to the wall to try to protect that mandate. And what's going to happen is we'll end up in court like we did during his first term where more than 120 lawsuits were filed. And I can tell you right now that those legal briefs are already written.
All right, Steve Swatt, as always, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.